Right then, I am going to smoke this driver. Straight down the middle, 300 yards. Let's do it. It was a pretty good connection, but I'm lacking about 120 yards to make it that 300 yard drive, and there's one reason for that. Guys, I'm Matt Fryer, PGA professional, and in today's lesson we're going to find out exactly what that is. So guys, if this is your first lesson, do remember, hit the subscribe button down below, turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss any future lessons to help you become a better golfer. Right then, why didn't that ball go as far as I wanted? For the keen-eyed golfer there, we might have noticed there was one thing really lacking in my golf swing, and that was a bit of speed. And that is due to one factor throughout my golf swing, one thing that I wasn't creating any of really at any point to allow me to create the speed, and that is some leverage. Now, for those who don't know, in the golf swing, leverage is created in this case by talking about the hinging of the wrists as we go through the golf swing. We want to create some angles, because actually when we create these angles and unload them at the right time, it's going to quicken up our club head speed, and if we can get the ball on the face in the right manner, that is going to allow for us to actually get some better distances out of our shots. So let me demonstrate this for you. I'm just going to take my 4-iron here. If I was to ask you, I want you to throw your club as far as you can down the hole here. You wouldn't swing up to the top and release it here. You wouldn't create the angle early on, this angle between the lead arm and the shaft, and throw it, because what would happen is that I do that, I would throw it at the ground early on. It wouldn't go far down the fairway as we were going here. What we'd want to do is actually create the angle to start off with, store it, and then release it at the right manner. So as we do that, it would look something like that. I'm actually quite good at throwing clubs. I used to be a prolific club chucker back in the day. That club there has just gone about 50 yards for me. As we saw, when I threw it from the top, it went negative yards, and that was all by me actually getting that 50 yards by releasing it at the right time of my golf swing. So what I want you to try and do to create this feeling of actually unloading the angles as we go through, if you've got a Lyman cadence, fantastic. You can take your club and turn it upside down if we want. Now, if you imagine, if you either have ever flicked a towel when you get a little bit of snap in it and we're trying to crack the towel, or if you imagine just simply having your, if you've ever been unfortunate enough to break your forearm or break your wrist or anything and it's in a cast, that movement would be very, very hard. If the arm was in a cast here, we wouldn't be able to create that movement. It would be very isolated, and as you can probably hear through the mics here, or not hear, there's no real whooshing of this alignment cane, and it doesn't look like I'm getting much speed from it. What I want you to try and do, excuse me, is take a cane, create the angle in the backswing here, so we now get this sort of 90-degree angle between the lead arm and your cane, and then on the way down, try and make as loud a noise as you can. And to do that, what I have to do is store the angle, and then as I'm coming down into impact here, what we would see is pretty much that the body slows down, the hand starts to travel, let's call it around about 40 miles an hour, but the cane is whipping at about 100 miles an hour. So from there, I'm generating the club head speed. What a lot of people try and do is swing their arms quickly, store this angle, and that means, because they've heard the old term of I'm storing lag to use it, but the club gets out in front and we don't release it in the manner we want, and we end up catching the ground, not creating any speed. We want to make the swing where we're starting to get a real bit of noise from this cane here. So it's create the angle, lever your body, let the cane come down, and then let this cane almost pass the hand. So we're getting this real whip of it. Once we then add that into our driver swings, what we can do, if I just find another T-peg here, once we've got it pegged up, We pop this one in. There's the old tee. If I can now actually create the same feeling where I create the angle and then feel that I'm trying to get that whooshing noise of the driver again here, all of a sudden I'm creating speed. I feel quicker. I'm using the angles and the energy I create in my backswing at the right time to enable me to hit it further. So once then we get this in and I get my good setup, I'm going to swing, create the angle, come down, store it, release, and with the driver it's not like an iron. I'm not trying to hit ball then turf. I've actually got to let the club head pass my hands to create this angle. Feel like it's catapulting through a little bit. We should see that we get a little bit more distance, hopefully closer towards that 300 mark. So good setup, feel that whip, feel the rush, and we'll rip it down here. And that, I would imagine, looked 10 times quicker, and it's flown double the distance there, right out, smashed out of the middle, and I felt so much quicker. I felt like I used all the energy I created at the right time. So, the key to getting a little bit more distance, if you're someone who feels very wooden in the wrists and doesn't feel like you're using the angles that you create during the golf swing in a particularly good manner, try that drill. Get a cane or a club in your left hand, create the angle, and then try and make the whooshing noise. Can you release it at the right time to see that you're generating a little bit more club head speed? Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson this week. If you have, do remember to hit that subscribe button down below, turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any future lessons, any future tips to help you get better at your game in 2020. Guys, thanks for watching this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.